The Honourable Leader of the Second Opposition.
Madam Speaker, businesses and investors like certainty, but the Premier himself seems to be one of the greatest sources of uncertainty in Manitoba. His government interfered with bargaining at the University of Manitoba and lost at a cost of $2 million. He has been unable to do his homework when it comes to the $67 million pan-Canadian framework, so that money's up in the air until he hands in what he wants to do with it. He ripped up 2 agreements with the MMF. He spent tens of thousands of dollars on a legal opinion that says he shouldn't bother suing the federal government on pricing pollution, but keeps threatening to do it anyway. Last Friday, it turned out that Manitoba was the only province where unemployment went up. The question here is one of confidence and one of uncertainty. Can the Premier explain why he thinks ripping up agreements and threatening lawsuits left and right helps build trust and confidence in Manitoba?
The Honourable First Minister.
Well, frankly, Madam Speaker, I don't accept any of the member's preamble, but it does give me the opportunity to say congratulations to the new Premier of New Brunswick, Blaine Higgs, and his party for their opportunity to govern that beautiful province, and a thank you to former Premier Brian Gallant for his service to the people of New Brunswick as well. And I would say to the member that the demonstrated power of the citizen to make a difference through their vote was never more evident than in that very closely fought election. And so I want to wish the incoming Premier and the outgoing Premier all the very best as they move forward in their careers as they have been directed to by the people of New Brunswick.
Here. The Honourable Leader of the Second Opposition on a supplementary question.
Madam Speaker, every Manitoban is paying more because of the uncertainty created by this government's lack of a plan. When the Premier announced in 2016 he would run 8 years of deficits without a plan to balance the budget, bond rating agencies downgraded the province's credit rating. Our credit rating was downgraded again because this PC government is undermining the province's revenues while failing to invest in growth. This PC government has been downgraded twice because they are making it harder for this province to pay its bills.
That's not actually
Interest
true.
on tens of billions of dollars of provincial and hydro debt has gone up on this Premier's watch. And on everything from education to poverty to economic growth, there is no plan. This government is slowing the economy when we need to grow because of the uncertainty being created by this Premier. And this government is still maintaining not 1, not 2, but 3 definitions of deficit as the NDP did. When is this government going to deliver its long-promised plan for economic growth and investment?
The Honourable First Minister.
Again, Madam Speaker, I do welcome questions from the member and encourage you to allow more of them to come my way. I want to say that in respect of economic outcomes, we are second among the provinces in private sector self-employment, increased by 7.7% first 8 months of this year, second among all the provinces. Capital investments in new residential properties increased by 30%. The member should listen to these things because these are Manitobans I'm giving credit to, and if he would, I'd appreciate if he showed some respect for the Manitobans who are venturing forward with capital investments and taking risks in this province. That is the group that deserves the respect and thanks of the people in this House. These are not, Madam Speaker, investments people make lightly. New residential properties, second in the country. Capital investments in industrial properties, second in the country. Housing starts, second highest increase in the country. I know the members don't like to hear these things, Madam Speaker, because they feast on fear, they feast on pessimism. But Madam Speaker, on this side of the House, we thank Manitobans and others who are putting capital at risk in our province and creating jobs in record numbers. We thank them very much, Madam Speaker, and on this side of the House, we celebrate their accomplishments.
The member's time has expired. The Honourable Leader of the Second Opposition on a final supplementary.
Madam Speaker, when Standard & Poor's downgraded the province's rating for the second time, it specifically said that one of the challenges was this government was focusing too much on cuts and wasn't investing enough in actually being able to to gather revenues or in economic growth.
That's not
a
true.
year ago, the Premier told the Winnipeg Chamber of Commerce that he had discovered that Manitoba had no economic plan. There have been a number of people who were sent out across the province to try to develop it. It would be great to find out when this plan will actually be delivered 2.5 years into this government's mandate.
The Honourable First Minister.
Note that didn't even garner applause from the few Liberals in the House, Madam Speaker.
Order.
And I have to say to the member that his adolescent preamble, which is erroneous to the 90th percentile, has no place here. If he would like to enter into some intelligent debate, let's do so. How about put the facts on the record? Labor, in terms of personal income growth under this government, average weekly earnings 2.54 annually since 13, second highest among the provinces since 16. Retail vehicles, motor vehicle sales increased by 10% last year. That was the second highest in Canada. But what about the first? What about the first spots? How about exports to the United States up 22.7% this year? Best among the provinces.
Here.
Capital spending, private sector capital spending growth, the highest in Canada this year and expected to be first next year. Madam Speaker, this is what's going on in Manitoba. I just don't know what's going on in the member's head, Madam Speaker.